The desert was dry and cracked under Commander Ryan's boots. The sky above was a pale blue, too quiet for a planet that had just been declared unstable. His mission was simple: land, scout, and leave. But nothing on this planet had gone as expected. He had seen strange shadows moving through the dust. His scanner kept beeping and flashing unknown life signs. But when he turned to check, there was always nothing. He thought maybe it was a glitch. Or maybe the heat was messing with his head. Ryan adjusted the settings on his exosuit and wiped sweat off his forehead. His ship was a few kilometers back, but he didn't feel safe. Something was watching him. Something fast. Something that wasn't afraid. Then he saw her. She stepped out from behind a jagged rock, silent as a whisper. She was only about 3 feet tall, small compared to Ryan, but her presence was strong. Her fur was dark violet, and her sharp feline ears twitched at every movement. Her glowing green eyes locked onto his with the focus of a predator. She was dressed in tight but armored clothing, nothing revealing, but built for combat. Ryan froze. He raised his scanner, but it didn't respond. She had some kind of tech that jammed it. She walked closer without fear. He spoke first. "Identify yourself." She tilted her head, confused. Then she spoke in clear, slightly broken English. "You are the one. The stars said so." Ryan blinked. "The one? What stars? Who are you?" She put a hand on her chest. "My name is Karina of the Fireclaw tribe. I have chosen you as my mate." Ryan took a step back. "What?" "Listen, I think there's a misunderstanding. I'm not here for ... I'm part of a recon mission." But Karina didn't stop. She walked right up to him and looked up with her big eyes. "You saved the desert cubs. I watched. You shared your water. You carried one in your arms. You risked your life for strangers." Ryan's mind jumped back. 2 days ago, he had found 3 small desert creatures trapped in a collapsed burrow. He hadn't known anyone was watching. "I did what any decent person would do," Ryan said carefully. "No," she said. "Not anyone, not most, only you." Before he could reply, a loud roar echoed across the sky. The ground shook. Dust rose in thick clouds. Karina grabbed his arm and pulled him behind a rock. Ryan saw it then. A beast 10 feet tall, armor-plated, with glowing red eyes charging across the desert. It was hunting something, or someone. "They followed me," Karina said. "My tribe is gone. I ran. Now they want me too." Ryan's training kicked in. "How many are there?" "5. She answered. "But one is enough to destroy a village." Ryan knew he should call for backup, but his comms were still dead. He had no air support, no team. Just him and a small alien girl who said she chose him as her mate. She looked at him again. Her voice was serious now. "You can run. But if you stay, I will fight for you." Ryan looked at the creature in the distance, then at her. She barely reached his waist, but something in her stance, her stillness, told him she was a warrior. "You're sure you can fight?" he asked. Karina's eyes narrowed. "I have fought since I could walk." Another roar split the sky. Ryan pulled his plasma rifle from his back. "Then we fight together." She smiled, not soft, but fierce. Like she was born for this moment. In that dry, cracked land under an open alien sky. A bond formed, not of love, not yet, but of survival and strange fate. The beast was coming. And the human and the feline warrior, mismatched and unexpected, were ready to meet it head-on. The desert beast thundered forward, its heavy steps cracking the ground beneath it. Ryan raised his plasma rifle and aimed, but he had never seen anything like this creature before. Its body was covered in thick metallic scales. Normal shots might just bounce off. Karina moved with speed and grace. Her small size didn't slow her down, it made her faster. She darted to one side, drawing the beast's attention. The creature roared and turned toward her. Ryan didn't waste time. He fired a burst at the back of the monster's legs. The plasma blasts hit hard. But the beast only staggered for a second before turning to him. "It's armored." Ryan shouted. Karina didn't answer. She leaped high into the air and landed on the creature's back. With her claws and a small glowing dagger, she began to strike at the weak spots near its neck. The creature screamed and thrashed, trying to shake her off. Ryan aimed again. He noticed one of Karina's attacks had exposed a gap just under the shoulder. He took the shot. A blast of plasma hit the spot perfectly. The creature screamed in pain and dropped to one knee. Karina jumped off just in time as it collapsed, shaking the earth. She landed beside Ryan, breathing fast but steady. Her fur was dusty and a scratch ran down her arm, but her eyes still burned with wild energy. "You did good," Ryan said, lowering his weapon. "You followed my strike," she replied. "You trust me," he nodded. "Looks like we make a good team." Karina looked up at him again. "Then you begin to understand. You are my chosen mate." Ryan rubbed the back of his neck. "That part still confuses me." She sat down on a rock, her tail wrapping around her feet. "On my world, choosing a mate is not just for love. It is for strength, loyalty, a bond that cannot break. I choose you because you have fire in your heart." Ryan sat beside her. "And your people? Where are they now?" She was quiet for a moment. "Gone. My tribe was attacked by the Brakkul. The monsters you just saw, they hunted us across the sands. Few survived." Ryan looked at the dead creature. "They're military grade. Who's giving them orders?" Karina growled low in her throat. "A traitor. A warlord who made deals with machines. He wants our lands, our mines, our lives, and now he wants me." "Why you?" Ryan asked. "Because I carry the seal," she said, pulling out a small, glowing gem from a pouch near her waist. "This proves I am heir to the Fireclaw bloodline." Ryan stared at it. "So, you're royalty?" "Not anymore," she said bitterly. "A queen with no people is just a story." Ryan stood and looked out at the desert. "Then let's change the story." She looked at him surprised. "You mean to help me?" "I came here on a recon mission," Ryan said. "But now I know this world is not just another burned rock. It has people, good ones. And if someone's trying to wipe them out, then I won't turn away." Karina stood slowly. She was small, but there was pride in her posture. "Then you are more than a soldier. You are worthy." Ryan gave a dry smile. "Still not sure." "About the mate part." She stepped closer. "When I choose, I do not unchoose. But I will not force." He looked down at her. "Deal. You fight beside me, I'll stand with you. Whatever comes next, we face it together." Suddenly, a distant rumble echoed through the ground again, this time from the horizon. A convoy of dust trails stretched across the sky. More Brakkul were coming, not one, not five. A whole hunting pack. Ryan narrowed his eyes and tightened the straps on his armor. "Looks like we don't get much rest." Karina unsheathed her twin blades. "Then we give them a story to fear." Together, the soldier and the tiny feline warrior walked toward the danger, not as strangers, but as something new. Something stronger, asterisk. The wind began to howl across the cracked desert floor. Dust lifted into the air, spinning like ghosts around Ryan and Karina as they moved quickly across the dry land. Behind them, smoke still rose from the fallen beast, but ahead danger was coming fast. Ryan's visor zoomed in. He counted 7 heat signatures moving in formation. Brakkul for sure. But these ones had better weapons, heavier armor. Not just beast soldiers. "We can't fight all of them," Ryan said, crouching behind a rock. Karina crouched beside him, her tail still and focused. "Not yet, but I know a place." She pointed toward the jagged cliffs in the distance. "There are tunnels, old mining paths. We can lose them in the rock. Ryan glanced behind them. The enemy was gaining ground. He nodded, "Lead the way." They ran together, side by side, his heavy boots kicking dust, her small feet silent on the ground. Her speed surprised him. Even with her short legs, she moved fast and without wasting energy. As they neared the cliffs, plasma blasts shot over their heads. Ryan grabbed Karina and pulled her behind a boulder. One of the blasts exploded nearby, throwing sand into the air. "They're targeting us," Ryan growled. Karina pressed her paw to the rock. "There's a crack. A way in." With her claws, she scraped away dry sand, revealing a narrow passage, just enough for her to slide through. She looked back at Ryan. "You're too big. You'll need to squeeze." Ryan didn't hesitate. He removed parts of his armor, tossing his shoulder plates aside. It slowed him, but every second mattered. Inside, the passage was dark and tight. Ryan's back scraped against the rough stone, but Karina moved like she belonged there. The tunnel curved and twisted, dropping into silence. Ryan's comms flickered. "Signal's dead again," he muttered. Karina stopped and turned around. "Good, they won't track us here." The tunnel opened into a hidden chamber, an old mining outpost, long abandoned. Rusted tools, broken machines, and shattered crates filled the space. But it was shelter. And more than that, it was history. Karina lit a dim blue orb, hanging it from a hook in the ceiling. The light cast soft shadows across the rock walls. Ryan sat down and caught his breath. "You've been here before." She nodded. "This was where my people once worked. We dug for crystal veins deep under the sand. But when the warlords came, we sealed it." He looked around. "Looks like a tomb now." Karina stepped into the center of the room. "No, it's where I learned how to survive. Where I trained to fight. My mother brought me here before." She vanished. Ryan looked at her. "You never found her?" "She fought to buy us time," Karina said. "I was too small to help. I watched her fall." Ryan didn't speak. His fingers tightened into fists. The silence between them said more than words ever could. She walked over to him. Her hand touched his knee gently. "You don't have to fight with me, Ryan. You have your own people. Your own world." He looked at her. "I came here as a soldier. But now I see a different war. You lost everything. And yet you still stand. I can't walk away from that." Karina looked down. "Then I was right to choose you." He smiled, just a little. "Still not used to that whole chosen mate thing." She gave a soft chuckle. "You will learn. Feline bonds are not light things." Suddenly, a sharp metallic sound echoed through the tunnel. Ryan jumped to his feet, rifle raised. Karina hissed and pulled out her blades. "They found us." A robotic drone hovered into the chamber, small, fast-armed. Ryan shot first, but it dodged. It fired a beam that sliced through a rusted pillar. Sparks flew. Karina leapt forward and spun mid-air. Her dagger cut into the drone's eye sensor, blinding it. Ryan finished the job with a direct shot to its power core. The drone exploded in a small flash. "That was a scout," Ryan said. "Which means the rest aren't far behind." Karina's face turned serious. "Then we do what my people always did. We lure them deeper and make them regret following." Ryan nodded. "Let's give them a fight they'll never forget." In the shadows of the forgotten mines, the bond between the human soldier and the tiny feline warrior grew stronger. They were outnumbered, outgunned, and hunted, but not broken. Not yet. The old mining tunnels were colder now. The deeper Ryan and Karina went, the less light touched the stone. The silence felt heavy, like the place itself remembered the war that had buried it. Ryan checked his weapon. The battery level was dropping. He had one full energy cell left. "How many drones you think they'll send?" he asked quietly. Karina crouched beside a rusted control panel. Her ears twitched. "Too many. They don't want to fight." They want a trap. She pulled a wire from the wall and connected it to a glowing device on her wrist. After a few seconds, the panel came to life with a soft hum. Blue lights blinked weakly. "What are you doing?" Ryan asked. "I'm turning the tunnel against them," she said. "Old defenses still sleep here. I'll wake them." Ryan watched as ancient turrets rotated slowly in the walls. They were rusted and weak, but maybe strong enough to buy them time. Karina looked up at him. "There's a deeper chamber. Below this one. A core room. They'll expect us to run. But we will fight from there." Ryan nodded. "A trap," she grinned. A final stand. Footsteps echoed from above, heavy, armored, and close. The Brakkul were coming. Karina moved fast, guiding Ryan through a narrow stairwell cut into the rock. The deeper room was smaller, tighter, perfect for an ambush. Pipes ran across the ceiling. A large control unit sat in the center, blinking slowly. Ryan looked around. "What is this?" Karina brushed dust off the panel. "Power junction. When this was a mine, this controlled the crystal extractors. But if I overload it, it will burn bright enough to blind even Brakkul eyes." She got to work, claws tapping on the controls with sharp precision. Ryan took position near the entrance, rifle aimed. The footsteps above stopped. Silence. Then, a deep voice shouted in a strange language, rough and full of hate. Karina whispered, "They sent a captain." "I know that voice." "You've met him?" Ryan asked. "He raided our camp. He laughed while my uncle burned," she said softly. Ryan tightened his grip on the rifle. "Then we make sure he never laughs again." The walls shook, explosives. The Brakkul were breaking through from the side. Ryan set his remaining charge near the broken passage and stepped back. The moment the wall collapsed, he detonated it. Rocks exploded outward, dust blinding the enemy for a few seconds. Ryan opened fire. His shots hit hard and fast, dropping the first two Brakkul warriors as they stumbled in. Karina leaped like a shadow from the side. She slashed across one soldier's throat and rolled under another's blade, striking fast and vanishing behind the console again. But more were coming. Bigger ones. With energy shields, Ryan fired again, but his rifle clicked empty. He dropped it and grabbed his knife. The enemy charged. He met the first one head-on, ducked under a swing, and drove the blade deep into its side. Karina shouted, "Now!" She slammed her hand on the final control, and the old junction exploded in a wave of bright blue light. The Brakkul screamed. Their eyes burned. Their shields failed. The power surge fried their tech. Ryan didn't waste the moment. He grabbed a fallen enemy's plasma pistol and fired into the chaos. Karina moved like lightning, cutting down anyone who still stood. When it was over, the chamber was filled with smoke. Sparks dripped from the walls. Broken bodies lay everywhere. Ryan leaned against the wall, breathing hard. Karina stood in the middle, blood on her armor, chest rising and falling fast. But her eyes, they burned with fire. "You're hurt," Ryan said. She looked down. A small burn on her side. "It's nothing." He stepped closer. "Let me see." She hesitated, then nodded. He knelt beside her and pulled out a small med patch from his belt. He pressed it gently over the burn. She looked up at him, her voice quieter now. "I never thought I'd survive this long." Ryan smiled. "You're not just surviving. You're fighting harder than anyone I've ever seen." She placed her hand on his. "That's why I chose you." The silence that followed wasn't empty. It was full of trust, pain, and something new building between them. Not just survival, not just war, but a future neither of them expected. Then, deep in the tunnel, a new sound echoed. Not Brakkul, not drones. Something bigger, heavier. Karina. Tail flicked once. "They've sent a war beast." Ryan's eyes narrowed. "Then we finish this." The tunnel groaned from deep below as if the planet itself was waking up. Ryan and Karina both turned toward the sound. It wasn't just another Brakkul soldier. The vibration in the stone, the deep growl that rumbled through the walls, it was something massive. Karina stood completely still, ears flat and eyes glowing. They sent a war beast, half machine, half monster. Nothing we've faced before matches its strength. Ryan checked his backup pistol. He was running low on ammo. Can it be killed? She looked at him seriously. Yes, but not in a straight fight. The ground shook again. Far down the tunnel, red lights flashed in rhythm. The war beast was getting closer, step by step. Metal claws scraping rock, steam hissing from its joints. Each sound getting louder. Ryan grabbed a fallen Brakkul rifle and tossed another to Karina. She caught it and nodded. Together, they moved quickly through the lower tunnels, deeper. Into the mines. As they ran, Karina spoke. There's one last room, the forge. When the Fireclaw tribe made weapons, we stored our power cores there. Ryan understood instantly. Explosives? Karina gave a tight smile. Enough to bring down this mountain. They reached the forge. It was an enormous cavern with old stone walls blackened from fire. Broken armor pieces were scattered. Across the ground, large glowing cores floated in their holders, humming softly. Karina moved quickly, setting charges near the cores. Ryan helped her, linking wires and timers from his tactical belt. You sure this will kill that thing? He asked. Karina's voice was calm. It won't kill it, but it will bury it forever. The war beast roared. The walls cracked. A massive steel-clawed hand punched through the tunnel behind them. Red lights blinked on its shoulders. Its body was covered in heavy metal plates, and thick black smoke poured from vents in its chest. Where its face should be was only a sharp metal mask, glowing with hate. Ryan and Karina both opened fire. The beast didn't slow. Plasma shots bounced off its armor. It charged straight into the forge chamber, shaking the ground with every step. Karina dodged left. Ryan rolled right. Keep it here, Karina shouted. I'll trigger the collapse. Ryan nodded and ran to one side, yelling and firing. The beast chased him, firing a scorching beam from its shoulder. The blast narrowly missed Ryan and melted a chunk of the stone wall. Karina climbed onto a platform above and aimed at the beast's back. Her shot hit a small energy tube and made it spark. The beast turned toward her in rage. Ryan saw his chance. He jumped down from a ledge and drove a Brakkul blade into the beast's leg joint. It roared, swung wildly, and sent Ryan flying across the room. He hit the ground hard, groaning in pain. Karina screamed and jumped from above, landing on the beast's head. She grabbed one of its metal antennas and pulled hard. Sparks exploded. The beast screamed again and staggered. Ryan crawled toward the control switch. The charges were armed. He reached it just as the beast tossed Karina off its back. She hit the ground and didn't move. Karina! Ryan shouted. The beast raised its claw to crush her. Ryan slammed the trigger. Flash of white light exploded through the forge. The sound of the blast shook the very roots of the mountain. Rocks fell like rain. Fire chased the wind. Then silence. Dust filled the air. Everything was still. Ryan coughed and pulled himself out from under a fallen beam. His armor was scorched. His face cut. He looked around desperately. Karina! No answer. He limped across the broken stone, searching through smoke and rubble. His heart pounded harder than ever before. Then he saw her, half buried under fallen stone, unmoving. He dropped to his knees and dug her out with shaking hands. Please. Stay with me, he whispered. Her eyes opened slowly. She was bleeding, but alive. You stayed, she whispered, voice weak. I told you, Ryan said, holding her close. We face everything together. And in that broken, burning cavern, a human soldier held a small warrior girl in his arms, not as a protector, not as a stranger, but as something much more. Asterisk smoke still rose from the shattered forge chamber. The rocks had stopped falling, but the ground still felt warm. The mountain had swallowed the war beast. There were no more roars, no more footsteps. Just silence and dust. Ryan stayed crouched beside Karina, shielding her with his body as small pieces of rubble crumbled from above. She was breathing, but slow. Her armor was torn, her fur burned in patches, and her eyes fluttered open only for seconds at a time. He gently wiped the blood from her forehead. "Stay awake, Karina. We're almost out." She coughed softly. "You really didn't leave?" Ryan shook his head. "Not a chance." "You think I'd let my chosen mate go down alone?" A small, tired smile touched her lips. "You accept it now?" He gave a quiet laugh. "After all this?" "Yeah, I think I do." Ryan checked the med patch again, then stood. He looked around the ruined chamber, then hoisted Karina gently into his arms. She didn't resist. Her small frame pressed close to his chest, light as a child, but carrying the weight of an entire fallen tribe. The escape tunnel, Karina had mentioned, was half blocked from the blast, but Ryan managed to squeeze through carrying her. It took time. His muscles screamed. His body hurt with every step. But he didn't stop. When they finally emerged from the other side of the cliffs, the sun was setting. The sky burned gold and orange, and wind blew across the desert like a breath of peace. Ryan dropped to his knees beside a dry stream. He placed Karina down gently and sat beside her, gasping for air. Her eyes opened again, more stable this time. "We survived." "Yeah," he whispered. "We really did." For a while, they just sat in silence. The heat of battle was gone. Only the wind remained. Ryan didn't speak, and Karina didn't push him. They had seen enough for a lifetime, but finally she said, "I still have the seal." Ryan looked at her, confused. She reached slowly into her belt pouch and pulled out the glowing crystal, the mark of her bloodline. It still shimmered with soft red light. "I thought it would be gone, lost in the fire, but it stayed with me." Ryan stared at it. "What does it mean now?" "It means I am still Fireclaw, still heir to a people, and now I am not alone." He looked into her glowing green eyes. "So what happens next?" Karina sat up slowly. Her wounds still hurt, but she didn't let it show. "Now we rebuild, find others. I may be the last leader, but with you, I can be more than just a survivor." Ryan raised an eyebrow. "You sure your people will accept a human mate?" Karina smirked. "When they see what we face together, they will bow to you before they bow to me." Ryan chuckled. "That's not what I'm looking for." "I know," she said softly. "That's why you're worthy." Far off in the distance, a small ship glided down from the clouds. A Federation rescue signal had finally reached orbit. Help was coming, but Ryan didn't rise. "Not yet." He turned to Karina. "You chose me, even before the fight. Why?" She touched his chest gently. "Because when I looked at you, I didn't see a soldier. I saw someone who would never run, who would bleed for someone weaker. Someone who needed more than a weapon, they needed a heart." Ryan stayed quiet for a moment, then nodded. "Then I'm staying. With you." Karina leaned against his side, her small hand slipping into his. "Then you are no longer just chosen. You are mine." The sun sank behind the desert cliffs, painting the world in golden fire. And in that light, a new bond was born between a brave human and a fierce little warrior, destined to rebuild what war tried to destroy. Together, forever.